Welcome to the Real Lives Podcast, brought to you by Dr. Jacob Wilson and Dr. Jacobi Cleaver, optometrists combining their love for eye care and movies. We pick a movie, watch it, and review it while incorporating elements of optometry as it relates to clinical cases we've encountered in practice, current trends, and recent developments across the optometric industry. Seen any good movies lately? We have.
So sit back, grab a bucket of popcorn and your glasses, and let's have some fun.
Hey, you guys, welcome back for another episode of the Real Lives Podcast. My name is Dr. Jacobi Cleaver. I'm joined here with my partner in crime, colleague, and friend, Dr. Jacob Wilson. And
What's up?
you know what, Jacob, I'm kind of excited for tonight's episode, man. I know you was a little lukewarm in the beginning, but we'll get into that in just a little bit.
Okay.
How was your weekend, my friend?
My weekend was pretty good. I had a case with one of my students. It was one of the other preceptors had a case that I actually texted Jacobi about, where a man, he was from Mexico and he had kind of a shoddy family history, but he was in his 50s and told us he had what'd he say? He came in and said, I have a corneal dystrophy. He said those words in Spanish. So he definitely had done some research or gone to a doctor or something, and that it was hereditary, but he didn't remember what it was called. And so I heard the student and the preceptor kind of going over all the corneal dystrophies. And when they ended up taking an anterior segment OCT, there was thinning centrally in the cornea, but only posteriorly. And it just had an interesting look to it. I texted Jacobi about it because I know he's into anterior seg, and it ended up being a posterior keratoconus, which I hadn't seen before. They had recommended the patient get a corneal transplant. We'll see what happens with that, because my understanding that sclerals might not. A scleral lens, for anyone listening to, is a big contact lens that basically fits over the entire colored part of your eye.
Right.
And they can help a lot of people with keratoconus. But my understanding is the front of the cornea isn't as compromised in this situation, so sclerals might not help as much. But
yeah, scleral lens, large diameter contact lens that rests on the conjunctiva, so the clear part of the eye, and it vaults over the cornea. So by doing so, it makes the an irregular surface regular, so to speak. So that helps with the bending of the light and everything else. But yeah, that probably wouldn't hold a lot of mustard with with posterior keratoconus. But when you sent me the image of that, I was kind of surprised, because I've never seen the posterior keratoconus, and when I did a quick research on it, it's extremely rare. I'm not sure if you can call that a dystrophy, more so degeneration, right? But
yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen one of those, but I'd be interested to see how that works out. Did you say how old the patient was?
I think it was about 55.
Okay, is a cornea transplant something he's interested in doing?
No, he's scared of doing that, so that's why he came to see us.
Okay,
Whoever he had seen before, I don't know if that was in Mexico or somewhere else in California, had recommended a corneal transplant, and he came and said he was scared to do that. So one of the doctors at our clinic fits specialty contact lenses. She wasn't there that day, but I think he had maybe heard of that or something and wanted to try it. So we'll see what happens with it. I know some of the newer scleral lenses have like a wavefront technology that might help with some of that correction posteriorly, but I don't know. I don't know how well he's going to do. We'll see.
Right. Why was he hesitant about the corneal transplant?
I think just surgery. I think, and I get a lot of patients like that too. Just they hear the word surgery and they're nervous, and they go and they Google about all the things that could go wrong and everything, that's what I do. That's what I would do. Right. Yeah. But yeah, I think just depending on your background and what you've seen other people do, I think surgery can just scare people.
Yeah. And for completeness sake, what was the vision like in that eye, and then the vision like in the other eye in comparison?
Yeah, he was 2300 in that right eye, best corrected.
Okay,
and that was the student trying to refract him. But I know the student generally does a pretty good job. So I think 2300 is probably where we're maxing out with glasses. Maybe a contact lens could get them a lot better than that, and I think that's what they're going to try. The other eye was 2020 and didn't have any thinning, any steepening. And I was reading posterior keratoconus is often unilateral.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't even heard about it really. Maybe I had a lecture in school, but I hadn't really heard about it until you brought it up when we were texting, and then I was reading about it. I found an old, because I work for SCCO, for the College of Optometry there in LA, and I found this old book. It was like the bindings were falling apart, and what was it called? It was like Atlas of the Anterior Segment or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled that out and was flipping through it with the student and found that its explanation on
Interesting.
posterior.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I know. I don't blame them for hesitating. One, if the surgery, I mean, there's always risk with any surgery, but we know with corneal transplantation, there's always a risk of graft rejection and those kind of things. Typically, you'll be on steroid drops for quite some time. And even then, who's to say if the condition didn't progress more so in the beginning than it did in the end? So even if you go through with the cornea transplant, how much would it improve vision, if at all, right? So I don't blame him for hesitating or being a little mindful of that, especially given that his left eye is doing so darn good. So, I'll be willing to try anything up until surgery. So I don't blame him for that, because surgery is pretty involved. Even if he's interested in doing it, it's still going to be a pretty involved process.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not like anti-surgery or anything like that.
Right.
I think when it needs to be done, it needs to be done. I think cataract surgery and strab surgery and certain things are such a big blessing for people. And a lot of times those are first line treatments. But I would think with most corneal conditions, a transplant is our that's our last ditch effort.
Right, of course. But but we have to follow up on him and see how he's doing in the future. I'm sure you're going to keep tabs on him with your student and kind of report back with us for sure. But my friend, what are we getting into this evening? Which movie are we diving into this evening?
Very popular, pretty highly anticipated, and you'll get both of our opinions on it. Fantastic Four. I did, I went and to get ready for it. Hot Topic.
I seen that shirt. It's clobbering time, man.
Yeah, had a 30% off. All superhero good. So I actually bought a Superman jersey too.
Oh, nice.
I don't really know why I bought that, because we already recorded the episode, but it just looked cool.
Well, I'm sure our social media manager have you do something with that at some point.
I'm sure. Yeah. Are you having fun doing her TikTok she's making you do?
Oh yeah. She's really making me step out of my comfort zone with those TikToks and silly videos and everything else. So a special shout out to Mackenzie.
Yeah.
She's really taking our social media to the next level. And if you are on Instagram, please give us a follow at the real_eyes_podcast Instagram IG handle there, man. And we'll share plenty of content there, and that's a good way for you guys to connect with us.
Please do. Instagram, TikTok, we're out there. You'll see us and Mackenzie and my wife occasionally, and I have a feeling Jacobi's wife is going to get in on it too.
Yeah, she may get in the mix.
So we have fun on that. So we're doing Fantastic Four. I was pretty excited for this movie for a couple reasons. It's the most excited I've been for a Marvel movie in a while. Marvel, and I might get some hate for this comment, just hasn't been doing it for me for the last couple years. Just hasn't been. And I was a huge fan. I mean, I saw Endgame in theaters like 6 times back in 2019. Like, I was a huge fan, but the last few movies, I think the last Marvel movie I liked actually was the one with Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch.
That one was decent. Yeah, I remember that one.
And you know what about that one, and it comes up with one of my gripes about this movie later on, is in that movie they have Mr. Fantastic. Do you remember that?
Yep.
It's John Krasinski that plays him in that.
Right.
I thought he was great for that. But anyways, Fantastic Four came out. I was real excited for it. One thing I did think was cool, and Superman did the same thing for us. We didn't do the whole origin story thing, because we've already had this movie done quite a few times for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we jumped right into, we're 4 or 5 years into, the Fantastic Four being who they are. They're already beloved and famous all around the world. In their world, specifically, they're in one of the Marvel multiverses, right?
Right.
And we do get a little video of like what happened, kind of the lore of them going up in the spaceship and it blowing up, or not blowing up, them getting exposed to the radiation and everything.
Right.
But we kind of just jump right in, which I think is good because we've already had at least 4 other Fantastic Four movies in the last 30 years.
Right.
And to be fair, none of those were good, in my opinion. So this is.
I don't even think I've seen them, man. To be honest,
You haven't
with you.
seen
Yeah, I don't
the,
even think I watched.
You didn't see the one where the only thing the only actor I remember for sure is Chris Evans, Captain America. He's Johnny Torch.
So, but that was before Captain America, right?
That was before Captain America. Yeah, this was more around the time he was doing like the Not Another Teen Movie, those types of movies. When he was young. Yeah.
So what year did that come out? Like 05, 03, something like that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I'm sure I didn't watch it. Yeah. Even if it came on right now.
And I was a kid. I remember being like, oh, those are okay. But then watching them as an adult, I was like, this is really not great. That was before superhero movies really got good. That was, I mean, we had Spider-Man, but I'd say that was the only like good, like really well done superhero movie for a while there. And then there was like a 90s Fantastic Four, which is not very good. And there is a 2015 or 14 Fantastic Four.
Oh, really? Yeah. So,
and Michael B. Jordan, I know we talked about him on Sinners recently. Michael B. Jordan is Johnny Torch in that movie. And Miles Teller is Mr. Fantastic. And it is, a strong opinion, one of the worst movies ever made. It's so bad. I would rather watch Bambi: The Reckoning again before I'd watch Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that's kind of harsh, man. But you know, we don't expect a lot from Bambi: The Reckoning. Like we just want to see some gore and unbelievable killing scenes and that. You know, we hold superhero movies to a higher standard.
Right.
And rightfully so, man, because they have big names behind them. Marvel, DC Comics, like those are huge names, man, and they've been around for quite some time.
Well, and I'd go as far to say some of the best movies we've had in the last 20 years have been superhero movies.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you have The Dark Knight. I mean, the whole trilogy of that series, those are great movies. Those are Christopher Nolan movies. A lot of the Marvel movies are like top tier cinema, in my opinion. So we've kind of become accustomed to having great superhero movies. So when we have movies come out and they're a little bit more on the cheesy side, it's we're kind of a little spoiled. And that, unfortunately, that's how I kind of felt about this Fantastic Four. I wasn't digging the whole 1950s, like futuristic 1950s, like Jetson vibe throughout. What'd you think of that? I know I'm offending.
I enjoyed it. I kind of went in here with a blank slate, so I didn't have a lot of reservations about it at all. Again, I don't recall watching the other Fantastic Four movies, so this one was pretty fresh to me. But I did kind of appreciate that. It's weird to be in 2025 and then we jet set back into the future. To the past. But I think the year on there was what, 828 or something like that.
No, it was Earth 828.
Earth 828. Gotcha.
Yeah,
right.
That was like that's which Marvel world it was.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Now they go through the multiverse.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why I think you see it being like 1950s, but there's also futuristic equipment and stuff.
Yeah, definitely the cars is a big shout out to the 50s, 60s style and motivation and those things. But yeah, no, I kind of appreciate it. I like when you go back into a time frame or a time warp, because that means you have to pay particular attention to detail. So, you know, even with record players and radios and TVs and you know, furniture and interior design, like those things have to be taken into consideration when you make movies like that. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. And that's what I'll say. The set design, the production, the acting, it was all top tier. It was phenomenal. So the things I'm griping of, that's all personal opinion. I mean, but the movie was really well made. Right? I'm not going to say that it wasn't. And I love Pedro Pascal, so I was really excited for him to be in this movie. I don't know if I liked him as Mr. Fantastic. And my reasoning for that is Mr. Fantastic is like, he's so smart, right, that he doesn't have a ton of personality, and he's not supposed to really relate to other people completely. Right. And I think Pedro Pascal is just too relatable for me to believe that was him. I don't know. I was talking to Jenny about it. If they had kept John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, I think he would have done a great job. But shout out to Pedro. He's one of my favorite actors. He's already done amazing movies this year, so I'm not dragging him or anything like that. But he was hard to get into as Mr. Fantastic for me. But anyways, okay, that's the end of my gripes. The movie was, the idea was pretty cool. So basically, they save the world all the time. The people love and appreciate the Fantastic Four. They're famous worldwide. And the Silver Surfer comes, and the Silver Surfer comes, unlike in one of the past Fantastic Four movies, where I think the Silver Surfer was the main villain. The Silver Surfer actually come, and she is just heralding the coming of Galactus. So the way I was thinking of it is like, if you're religious, John the Baptist was heralding in Jesus. That's kind of what it felt like. And so Galactus, they want to know they don't know who Galactus is, but she basically says, hug your loved ones tight, because, Galactus is going to come destroy your world. So then the Fantastic Four come up with a plan. And you know what? The ship that they built, and they built the ship, they had it ready to launch within 20 hours. The four of them launch into space. Mm-hmm. And something to know too is that, what's her name? What do you call his wife? What's Mr. Fantastic's wife?
Yeah,
Sue Storm. Yeah. She is pregnant at this time. So like the world's really excited for that too. She's like the world's sweetheart, and everyone's excited for the baby to come.
Right. And I think in the beginning, the opening scene, they made mention that they've been trying to conceive for a few years without any success. So this was a surprise for both of them. And then, of course, Mr. Fantastic starts in his genius. He wants to run tests on the baby. Is the baby going to be one of them? Is he going to be normal? He's just trying to brace himself. Mr. Fantastic wants to go through every single scenario. That's what he does. He calculates every single scenario and goes with the best possible option to move forward. That's going to pretty much guarantee them success. But so that's kind of what's going on before they get ready to launch back and go find Silver Surfer and Galactus and see what they want.
Right. Yeah. And there's a pretty cool scene where he's able to see the baby. Mm-hmm. He has like this machine that he's built to analyze the baby, but then she is just able to make her stomach transparent, and they can just see the baby. So that was pretty cool, the special effects there. But yeah, pregnant and everything, she suits up with them and goes to space with them. They take off in their rocket. They go to space. They link up. This was all the science parts of it were pretty cool. They link up with this, I forget what they call it, but it's basically a secondary machine that helps them be able to travel through time and space. So they were able to use a wormhole to get to where Galactus is, or at least where the Silver Surfer's message was coming from. They were able to trace that. And they get to where that is, and as they get there, they see this world that looks pretty similar to Earth, just getting completely destroyed. And it's being eaten by this machine / monster looking thing. And it's just completely gone. It's pretty devastating.
Yeah,
so now they know what
it's eating Galactus is eating the planet from the inside out.
Right. Starts from so when you see the Earth or the planet start to blow outwards, and there's lava and everything, and Galactus comes out of the planet, and there's nothing left. Everyone's gone. So they kind of get a peek of what Earth has in store if they don't figure out a way to stop this. I mean, the consequences, the stakes are pretty high in this movie right away. So they get there, and they're able to get into, they see the Silver Surfer, and the Silver Surfer brings them to see Galactus, basically. And Galactus, I was a little confused about how big he was supposed to be. What'd you think about that?
Well, he didn't look huge in that scene. But later in the movie, this guy was. But they also made mention of, when he was eating that planet from the inside out, how fast he was able to do it. And they made mention of how that planet was like 13 or 14% bigger than Earth. So, now, again, Mr. Fantastic is going through his head. We probably don't stand much of a chance if we can't get in front of this.
Right. Yeah. So they're having to come up with a plan. And basically what happens, the four of them, along with the Silver Surfer, come up to, and there's kind of a funny scene where Johnny Storm kind of has this like connection with the Silver Surfer, and he's like, almost like he's trying to flirt with her, but he's really just trying to get more information out of her. So that seems pretty funny.
Right.
They get to Galactus, and Galactus basically says, hey, I have this insatiable hunger where I have to eat worlds, and I'm going to keep doing it. But I can tell that your baby, your son, that he has this same thing that I have, that he has this power, and I can pass my hunger on to him. So if you give me your son, I'll leave Earth alone, basically. And
pretty much. I mean, and Galactus presents this as if he's cursed. Like somehow he's cursed. He has to keep feeding on planets to remain viable, to survive. And he just he's just tired of doing it now. And he wants to pass it off to somebody else.
Right, yeah. And apparently this baby is going to have, even though they haven't found any trace of powers or anything in him, they want to pass, he believes, or Galactus can somehow tell that he has that power. So, but they say no, and then there's a battle and a scramble, and they are able to get away from Galactus. And then probably the most visually stunning scene of the movie that I thought was they are running away. They're in the wormhole, and they think they've gotten away, but the Silver Surfer, it just doesn't matter. She's able to just surf right through the wormhole and follow them.
Yep.
She has an understanding and an ability to overcome space and gravity and everything that they just don't, and they don't completely understand it. And so Mr. Fantastic comes up with a plan to basically go partially into a black hole or go into the horizon of a black hole and then kind of fake the Silver Surfer out. And they know somehow he figures out she'll be powerful enough to get out of the black hole, but it's going to take her like a month. So we'll have time to get away. So that was a pretty cool scene when they, they make the ship invisible right at the last second in the black hole. Silver Surfer gets sucked in. So that was cool. And that's how they get away and get back to Earth.
Yeah, and they get back to Earth. There's always a press conference. Every time they leave, there's a press conference. Every time they come back, there's a press conference. And this is the first time you see that Mr. Fantastic is rattled. Bunch of camera crews there, bunch of questions being asked at once. I can't remember the exact question, but someone said, "Are we safe?" And he said, "I don't know."
I don't know.
Yeah, and that just kind of causes this frenzy of people panicking and everything else. And he goes back into his office, his workshop, his lab, and he starts working on stuff. But I can't remember at what point did the public find out that they would be safe if Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm just give up their unborn kid. Well, by the time they return to Earth, the kid is now born. Sue gave birth.
Oh yes, the whole thing with that black hole scene. She's giving birth.
She's giving birth. So, what's his name? They named little buddy Franklin. So Franklin's here. He's alive. He's well. Healthy birth. Mom and child are doing well. But I can't remember at what point the public finds out that all they had to do was give up Franklin, and then the public is all good.
They find out in that press conference.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, I told Jenny, I was like, why did he tell them that? He didn't need to tell them that. But in the press conference, he tells them, Galactus asked for too high a price. And they were like, well, what was the price? And he said, our son. And everyone was like, huh? We'll get. And I was talking with Jenny about it. What do you think, Jacobi? If you were a member of the public and you knew we were all going to die unless this one family gave up their baby, what would you think? What would you?
Man, I can't be upset with them about not doing it.
Right.
I guess it sucks, but asking mother and father to give up child. I think that's kind of a big ask. I think I would just have to kind of make peace with it and and plan accordingly, I guess. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think I even thought about it in another way. Was, if someone's evil enough that they want to take their baby, can we really trust them to negotiate with them? So, you know what I mean? You know how the United States doesn't negotiate with terrorists or things like are we really saying we're going to be able to negotiate with someone evil like that? Right. We find out later that Galactus does actually negotiate and is true to his word with certain things. But as the public, we would have no way of knowing that. And so I don't want to sacrifice an innocent baby to probably still just have the world get destroyed. I don't know.
Right.
Jenny was team give up the baby. Jenny was all the way. She said, I was like, okay. He was like, we could all be safe and it's one baby. And I was like, yeah, it's a baby.
That's wild, man.
She was like, no.
I mean, even if I was thinking it, I wouldn't say it out loud, man.
And that was just me and Jenny in the car talking. But you know what, Jenny? I just said it on the podcast. So there you go.
Hey, we only talk about hypotheticals in the movies, guys, right? No way will we ever sacrifice, or will we allow Jenny to sacrifice a baby for the greater good of mankind in the Marvel universe?
Do that. Jenny's a lawyer, so she's gonna see things transactionally. That's all it is. I think that's all it was.
That's fair. I couldn't do it, but in just going back to the movie, I would understand the public's outrage, but I would also have to make peace with it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's basically what's the public going to do about it? It's the Fantastic Four. They're the most powerful beings in the world.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of, what are you guys going to do about it? We're keeping our baby. You do learn at that point how dependent the world has become on the Fantastic Four, though. That is not the government, not the armies, not the police, not any. The Fantastic Four is their savior. Right. And when he says, I don't know, it sent shockwaves through the world. So basically the next few months of the movie are spent preparing for the coming of Galactus.
He's on his way. He is on his way. Yep.
And they're coming up with plans for how to beat him and all of these different things. And they come up with a pretty cool plan, I thought. And so at the beginning of the movie, they show that they had learned, or that Mr. Fantastic had learned how to teleport organic matter. Right? And so he's teleporting an egg about 6 feet away. And he does the calculations. He says, if we build enough of these giant teleportation devices all around the world, we could transport the whole Earth somewhere else where Galactus won't be able to find us.
Right. So the thought is, they lure him. They call them bridges. So they lure him into the bridges. Everyone hits a switch or a button at the same time. It traps Galactus and it shoots him to the edge of the universe. And he can't. I can't remember the exact.
Remember, that's the.
That's right. I got ahead of my plan. Yeah, I got ahead of myself. Plan. So that's right, because they were going to teleport to Earth, and then Galactus can't find them as they move. Right, you're absolutely right. I got ahead of myself.
Right. And so, that they're going to move the whole Earth. One thing I thought was cool and hopeful, and it would be great if the world was like this someday, is the whole world came together to take Mr. Fantastic's plans and designs and build these bridges all over the world. Every country, every nation, every people, they're doing this. They're going to save the whole world. So that was a pretty cool, inspiring scene. It made me think of, I think that's kind of the whole idea behind like Star Trek. If you're into Star Trek, is like a kind of a humanistic future where everything is just for the greater good. They've moved past money and all of that. The whole world comes together to save the.
That was a pretty cool scene as well. Everybody's working to get this done. There's no pushback at all. There's no negativity surrounding it. Everyone just coming together to get it done. Right. And even when Mr. Fantastic was like, we gotta conserve energy, and that means we got to turn off the lights at this time every single day. And they do cut the scene to where all the lights are going off across the globe, which was a pretty cool scene, man. So, I'm hopeful, Jacob. I'm hopeful. Yeah. Now, I would hope that it doesn't take something like a Galactus to come towards Earth in order for us to do something like that. But I'm hopeful.
You know what, though? I saw that and I was like, I'm just thinking of certain people I know, getting them to turn off their lights for an hour every day. They would fight it so hard for no other reason than I'm not going to be told what to do.
Yeah,
So,
true.
It was great to see. I hope so. Eventually what happens, I guess they just didn't see this coming, but the Silver Surfer comes, like they think it's going to work, and they're getting ready to teleport to Earth as Galactus is showing up. And then the Silver Surfer comes and is destroying she basically destroys all of the bridges except for one or two.
Yeah, making quick work of it too. I mean, she's fast, quick, fierce. She's just zooming through them, tearing them apart, and she's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, super.
I thought the Silver Surfer was really cool in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I liked her backstory. So, and I mentioned how we learned that Galactus is actually open to negotiations. When Galactus came to destroy her planet, she was a regular woman, or she was like a very smart like scientist.
Mm-hmm.
But she made a deal with Galactus that she would come with him and be her scout if he left the planet alone.
Right.
And he did. He left the planet alone, and she became the Silver Surfer. She's covered in some type of alloy for the rest of her life, and has a surfboard, and that's how she gets through the universe.
Very cool. And it's the Silver Surfer's task to pick which planets Galactus attacks and devours and eats and everything. So that's her main goal and focus. Yeah,
really a cool concept. The whole thing,
it really is.
The whole universe, like it's pretty cool, and she's pretty miserable when it comes down to it. When they finally, are talking to her as a being, she made the sacrifice to save her world, but she lives with the conscience that the knowledge
destroying other planets, other worlds, families. Yeah. It's rough to deal with it. You can tell, towards the end of the movie, you can tell she's really battling with it,
right?
Struggling with it.
Yeah. And so really, she's really an extension of Galactus's evil because she did what she had to do to save her world, and so she does that. So that's when Plan B comes in. So now Galactus is coming. There's no way to teleport to Earth, but there's one portal left. And they know that Galactus really wants the baby. So they come up with a plan. It's kind of funny when the mom and dad look at each other to use the baby as bait to get Galactus. And like what you were saying before, get him to come and step into a portal. And then they're going to transport him to the edge of the universe where he won't have a ship. Because to do this, he's going to have to get off his ship.
Right.
He won't have a ship. He won't have any way to get back to where they are to hurt them or anything.
Yeah, they're pretty much going to banish him to the edge of the universe, and he'll just be out there stranded, just floating around by himself in space somewhere.
Hungry, I guess. Yeah, because he's just eternally hungry. Yeah. And it's this is a pretty good plan. I wonder if this should have been the original plan. But what do I know?
Jacob, you can't sacrifice the baby as the original plan. The baby's got to be the backup plan here.
No, I'm not sacrificing the baby. We're using the baby as bait, and look at how safe that car seat was. That was like top of the line, Eddie Bauer. What's a good car seat? It was the best car seat. Yeah, so he was fine. He was good. I think, but it all worked out. So I don't know. But anyways, yeah. So that's what they do. But Galactus catches on to what's happening here.
So he's out of the ship. He's making his way to the Times Square. I guess I'm calling it Times Square. The baby's right in the middle of the trap. Galactus gets all the way there, almost steps his foot into the trap, and then he says. He thinks about it.
Yeah. And then and what they had done is they switched the baby out.
Right.
See, the baby was safe the whole time. We had nothing to worry about. I'm not trying to sacrifice the baby like Jenny. Jenny just wanted to give him the baby. I'm just pretend to give him the baby. But anyways, he's able to like heat sense that the baby is somewhere else.
Right.
Right. In a different building. So he doesn't step into the area. So then he starts walking towards the baby. and then this battle ensues, right? But he is so powerful.
Yeah.
None of the Fantastic Four really have a chance with them. Mr. Fantastic is smart enough to figure out some of his weak points on his back, but I mean, he's taller than the tallest buildings in the city.
Right.
And yeah, he's like, the Thing can't do anything to him, just nothing. But Sue Storm, this was cool. This was great. Her power to hold, she uses her power to hold Galactus back, and she's able to stop him. And then she's able to use enough power to actually push him. And the which is crazy to think how powerful she's the most powerful one in the Fantastic Four.
Oh, easily.
Is what I got from that. And Mr. Fantastic is like, no, this is like, that's too much. And she said, save our son. Like, she was in full mom mode. She was saving her son. Because he has the baby in his hand at one point, I should say. He got there, grabbed the baby, had it in his hand, and is trying to leave. And that's when she is using all her powers to hold him. And you know what? She's strong enough. She's able to push Galactus into the portal. They're able to save the baby. I think Johnny comes in and saves the baby. They push Galactus in. Galactus, of course, comes like in any movie. The bad guy always gets up one more time. Galactus pops out of the portal, and then Silver Surfer. Wait
a minute, because Torch decides that he's going to sacrifice himself to get the last push to get him back into the portal. Excuse me. Silver Surfer comes, knocks Torch off of his path, and she knocks Galactus back into the portal, which was a pretty cool scene. Yeah,
it was cool, and she sacrificed herself. I thought about it later. She's probably okay, actually.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because she could just fly all over space. So he's stuck out there in the universe, but she could just fly wherever she wants after that, I'm guessing. But yeah, she takes it into her own hands and helps them and defeats Galactus. And it was a pretty cool ending. And then, but Sue Storm used up so much of her power, it actually essentially kills her.
Correct.
And, they're all gathered around her and are sad. And they, Mr. Fantastic takes Franklin, the baby, so he could hug his mom one last time. And then it turns out Franklin has some kind of power that actually brings her back to life, which was touching and happy. And
right. Because I wasn't ready for it to end if Sue Storm passed away.
Yeah, did you think
I would have had a totally different.
She's gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, I would have had a totally different feel about the movie had Sue Storm died, right? For sure. But that was good to see, man. I almost got a little choked up at the end of it, if I'm being 100% honest with the audience.
I don't know what this says about me, but you guys know what kind of movies I like.
Well, we know you love the slashing and the horror movies.
If she had actually died, I might have liked the movie more.
Really?
I don't know. The more torn up I feel walking out of a movie, like the more I liked the movie. I don't know.
Oh man, that's a different kind of crazy, man. No, I'm still from the old school, man. I want to see the hero win and survive, man.
Life's not like that, man. It doesn't always work out.
No, it does. But in the Marvel universe, until we get up into Infinity Wars, then we know how that is. Yeah. But this is just the beginning of this role, which brings us right up into the post-credit scenes. What do you think? What did you think about that?
That was cool. Yeah. So in the post-credit scene, it's 4 years later. So Franklin's a toddler, so I guess kindergartner at that point. And he's being real quiet, and his mom's like, "What's going on?" And you look over and you see a man crouched over talking to the baby, and you see him holding a silver mask. And do you know what that silver mask represents?
Doom,
yeah. And do you know who's going to play him? Dr. Doom, right? Do you know who's going to play him?
Who?
Robert Downey Jr.
No way! Oh, that's right. They did the big reveal. What was that? A couple years ago. And what was it at Comic-Con or something? Yeah, they did the big reveal. He came out on stage. He was in the full outfit and costume, and he took off his mask. That's gonna be great, man.
I think so. I think that'll be cool. And I don't know my Doctor Doom lore well enough. Does he not actually have superpowers? Is he just a really smart guy like Iron Man or Batman would be?
I don't want to misspeak. I don't want to misspeak. I want to say that he does have some sort of superpower, but I don't want to misspeak. So this gives us a reason to go and do some research before.
Right.
And I'm sure this is going to come out within. How does Marvel typically do? Every year or two?
Well, for the big Avengers movies, it's usually a few years apart. We haven't had one since Endgame.
Right.
So,
and I know with the
Avengers, they said 2026. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, because I know with the Avenger movie, it will be a break in between, and then they will do the individual movies. So you get another Iron Man, another Captain America. We got Black Panther in there at some point.
They build the individual stories of the superheroes, and then also build the world a little more. So I'm sure there's probably. I bet you it's all out there what they have planned to be released. Yeah. What kind of threw it into limbo, the reason we had to wait so long is because they were going to have a different villain for the Marvel movies for the next Avenger. It was going to be Kong. Do they call him Kong or Kang?
Kang really?
And Jonathan, what's his name? The guy in Creed 3 that fights him.
Majors, Jonathan Majors. Yeah, he got into that's correct.
He had some domestic abuse situation, a lot of court things going on, and so Disney fired him at that point,
right?
But they already had a whole thing planned. This is before they announced Robert Downey Jr. They had a whole slew of movies planned for him. I mean, and he's the main villain in the Loki television series. If you saw all of that, so that's kind of why we had to wait so long. That unfortunately, he got into some trouble there. So I think Robert Downey Jr. that'll be cool. He's such a fan favorite, and I'm guessing he's still going to be a Tony Stark, just in a different world,
right?
And he somehow went the path of Doctor Doom. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't even consider that, but that would make total sense, though.
Yeah, that would be the only way it makes sense for me. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, so that'd be cool. As we talk through the movie, maybe I liked it more than I thought.
Man, I really enjoyed it, and there was and which kind of brings us to an optometry moment here when Mr. Fantastic is fighting Galactus, and Galactus just starts to stretch him to the point.
See, I was just cracking up at that in the movie. I don't know,
because I'm guessing at some point, he can stretch too much, right? Or
I don't know.
I don't know. But anyways, and this is when you text me and say, "How about we talk about myopia since the corny, the elongation of the ocular anatomy and blah blah blah." So this is our optometry moment. We're going to touch on a little myopia. So I'm going to task Dr. Jacob Wilson with giving us the layman's definition of myopia.
Yeah. So most of you out there that wear glasses, actually, I don't want to misspeak because I don't know actual statistics here, but I would say a more common refractive error is myopia than hyperopia. Seems to be, in my experience, but don't quote me on that. I don't have any studies at hand right now. But anyways, if you're nearsighted, when people say you're nearsighted, or if you have a minus prescription, -1, -2, -3, all the way to -10, whatever you got, that's myopia. The scientific term for that is myopia. What it means is your eye, the cornea and the lens, are too powerful for the length of your eye. So it can be either they're too powerful or it can be your eye is too long, right?
Right.
And so you can see things clearly up close, but then further away, that's where things get blurry. And the higher that number is, the closer that near point is for you. So if you're -10, you got to hold your phone right here without glasses to see anything. If you're -1, you might get away with it up here, right? But that's being nearsighted, right? A lot of people deal with that. We were just talking about by the year 2050, they anticipate that 5 billion people, 50% of the population, will be myopic or be nearsighted.
Right. So 50% of the worldwide population will be myopic. So, and I don't want to say recently, but I guess I don't have another word for it, but recently within optometry, there's been a real big push for myopia control.
I think
And
recently
that,
fair to say, last
yeah,
decade
I
or so.
guess it's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Which is based off of slowing the progression of myopia in kids. Myopia is not just a vision issue that we're concerned about. Myopia, people with myopia have an increased risk for cataract development, retinal detachment, and also developing glaucoma. So now we're talking about comorbidities within one condition. So there's been a real big push within optometry. I think in both of our settings, neither one of us have had the opportunity to practice myopia control yet, but maybe that can be something we can work on or advocate for in the future. With some of these companies out here, because I think it's the science behind it is real and true, and there are success stories out there. So when we're talking about myopia development, and I'm sure you get this question from parents of your pediatric patients, what causes myopia? Well, we don't exactly know. There's both genetic factors and environmental factors at play. So if you got one parent with myopia, that increases the risk. Both parents have myopia, that further increases the risk that the child's going to get myopia, right? And then, environmental. But the WHO also said that genetics alone isn't enough to explain the rapid decrease in the amount of cases that we're going to see, because 2050 is only 25 years from now, man, and we're talking about half of the global population, which is going to be a staggering amount of people, a staggering amount of people who develop cataracts, glaucoma, who may suffer from retinal detachments, and we're talking about conditions that may really cause you some visual disabilities here.
Yeah, and well, and I'll ask you a question just so you can answer it for the sake of the audience here. So myopia control, and we're going to talk about some of the ways that's done. And we're like Dr. Cleaver said, we're not experts on myopia control, but it can be done with contact lenses, drops. There's spectacles or glasses that can help slow down the progression of myopia. That'll help with that. Now, it does not reverse myopia. It will not make you not nearsighted. And what it's really going to do, let's say if you were destined to be a -6, -7, -8, hopefully we can keep that at a -2, -3, -4. Yeah, and I'm just throwing numbers out there. Those aren't the exact numbers. But what do you think if I'm explaining that to a parent? If I'm explaining that to a parent, they're going to say, well, they're still going to need glasses, so why should we do all of this? Well, what's the difference for an adult who's a -3 versus an adult who's a -7 or -8? Why would we want... if they're going to have to wear glasses anyways, why do we want to do all this work to slow it down?
Because I would hint towards the other comorbidities,
right?
Mainly retinal detachment, glaucoma formation, cataract formation. I would hint at those things. Now, the kids these days are still pretty active with sports and everything else. So if there's an increased risk that one may suffer some trauma at some point, then we have to discuss these things. Now, is it guaranteed that someone's going to suffer, just because you're nearsighted, you're going to suffer retinal detachment? Absolutely not.
No. Yeah, we don't want to say that. Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely not. But if there's something that can be done to intervene to kind of fight off or ward off these other conditions, then we have to have these discussions. Now, will you get someone to buy into this at the first visit? Maybe or maybe not. But if you've been seeing a patient for a while, specifically a kid, because age does matter in these things, that we can't get outside the age, the age period before we start talking about myopia control. We got to intervene as early as we can. So if you get outside that plastic area, then there's not a lot that we can do. And I'll pose the question back to you, Jacob. Have you ever had a patient that's gotten as high as a -15 or -16? And they function. It's hard to, but they can function. And
but yes, I have. And I'll tell you the story about the one I have. I had a young man who came to see me. I was in my residency year. He was 28 when I saw him. He hadn't been back to the eye doctor since he was 12. So it had been 16 years since he'd seen an eye doctor. His right eye was obviously completely blind, completely opacified over. It was a Tysical eye is what we would call that. The other eye, and I have pictures, but it looked like it was protruding out of his face. My immediate thought with this was, we've got some type of lesion, whether that could be a tumor or a bleed or something like that going on behind the eye. We've got something going on here. And I ordered an MRI. We did all kinds of scans. Nothing was going on. I finally did an A scan. If you don't know what an A scan is, that's measuring the length of the eye from the cornea to the back of the eye. It's measuring the length of the eye. His A scan was 36 millimeters. So, and if you don't know what normal is, it's about 24 to 27.
Right.
And if you remember earlier, we talked about myopia. Your eye is too long for the power of your eye. If his eye was so long, when I did his refraction, I couldn't even do a normal better 1, better 2 refraction on him. I had to use actually something called a retinoscope to get a good number. At a minus 21 on him.
Wow.
And that was just one eye. And what had happened when he was younger, he had gotten a retinal detachment in the right eye.
Right.
Right. And I don't know what he was when that happened, but he was 12 or 13. I bet you he was already a minus, in the teens as far as minuses go. He got a retinal detachment. So now he has one good eye. I'm giving him glasses that are minus 18, I think is what he ended up being comfortable with. He didn't like the full power. And so his glasses are unbelievably thick. And I don't want to put a contact lens on this guy because he only has one eye.
Right.
Right. And so it was just and I've thought about that patient a lot. What if we had myopia control 25 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Where would he be? What could we do right now?
Right.
I don't know how much of a difference it would make. That's pretty extreme to get up to minus 20, minus 21. But it happened.
At a minus 20, that means your focal point is almost at the tip of your nose.
Right. Yeah. That's
so. And then even when we have patients who are pretty nearsighted, and not even that nearsighted, and they are in contact lenses, and I don't want to generalize this specific patient population, but they can't function without the correction. Mm-hmm. So it's bothersome to put in contacts, take out contacts. God forbid you wake up in the middle of the night and you got to go to the restroom or you want a snack or something, and you got to kind of fidget around for your contact lenses or your glasses. So typically, in my experience, the patients end up sleeping in the contact lenses, and I can't blame them, right? Because they're at a total disadvantage when the lenses aren't in. But that also opens the door for possible infections, ulcers, which is just another can of worms that we have to deal with that we shouldn't have to deal with. And then people will talk about, well, what about refractive surgery? Well, LASIK surgery is a great option if you fit within the parameters of what's considered safe, for LASIK. So everyone,
what are the parameters usually,
right? Man, I can't remember offhand, but I'm definitely positive that it's not exceeding anything above 12 or 14 diopters. Maybe I may be misspeaking, but I know it's not getting up to 20 diopters of my.
I've actually generally seen -6 to +2 being the ideal.
Okay. Right, because you're also removing, some of the cornea, some of the epithelium, and reshaping that. So, that depends on the thickness of the cornea. So you can't remove too much of the cornea thickness because you risk perforation and those kind of things. So, I think to date, and maybe we'll have to. Pretty good friends with Dr. Justin Kwan. Maybe we'll have to get him on the show and really. Speak about
Dr. Priscilla Chang too. Do you know her?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And maybe we can get them on the show and at some point and discuss myopia management and myopia control in detail. But they'll have to watch a movie.
Guys, watch a movie.
You just can't come over here and talk optometry. You got to watch a movie first.
You got to
earn your spot. Get into the optometry. Because I think right now, Cooper Vision, and we'll have to mention this, but I don't want to get into to the details of it because I won't do it justice. But Cooper Vision has the MiSight one-day, one-wear contact lens. It's the first and the only contact lens FDA approved, proven to show myopia progression proven to slow myopia progression in children age 8 to 12 at 12 years old at the initiation of treatment, excuse me. So on average, age-appropriate children wearing these lenses progress less than 1 diopter within over 6 years, which is pretty impressive.
That's great.
So if you can slow stuff, that's really slowing things down quite a bit. But also outside of the contact lenses, they do offer atropine drops of different dosages and percentages. It may be a little difficult to get drops in someone every single day. So contact lenses make for a good option. But there are also some glasses, spectacle corrections that you can consider as well. Hoya has the MyoSmart spectacle corrective lenses, and Zeiss has the MyoCare and MyoCare S spectacle lenses that we can also consider as well. If for the patients or the parents who are not ready for contact lenses, and maybe they're 8-year-old kid or something like that. So there's definitely some options out here, and all of these options have been researched in great detail. Like these companies are putting in the research dollars to bring this technology to the forefront and make it available to the population.
Yeah, to our audience, especially those who are optometrists and ophthalmologists, this is something we need to know about when our patients ask about it. It's FDA approved. It's quickly, I believe, my opinion, I believe it's going to be the standard of care if it isn't already pretty soon. Absolutely. I think it's the future. And for our patients, for our listeners who are potential patients or children are going to be potential patients, ask your doctors about this. There is options rather than just letting the prescription get higher. I've heard research even going into slowing down hyperopic progression, which is farsightedness. That's probably still years away because that works in a very different way, in my understanding. I've heard of some other things. When I was at a children's hospital, I've heard of some even refractive LASIK type surgeries being done for children to try and help too. There's a lot of research going into this problem of myopia, of nearsightedness, and there's a lot we can do about it. So ask your doctors, and doctors, make sure you're talking to your patients about this. And if you're, if a kiddo's a -2, -3, like I had a child last week, I should have brought this up. I had a child last week with Down syndrome, and I got a -3 for their retinoscopy, a cycloplegic retinoscopy. And so I sent them to an optometrist who does myopia control. Gotcha. Because if they're 3 and they're already a -2 or -3,
right,
we don't want to let that keep going for years. Yeah,
right. Absolutely not.
Maybe that age, the drops are the right way to go at that age. But then maybe, and with the condition with Down syndrome, maybe that's the right way to go. But everyone's going to be different.
Yeah, but the main thing is that there are options now. Will every kid with myopia need to undergo myopia management? Probably not. No. But if there's, year after year, there's a big increase in the amount of refractive error, then there needs to be some sort of intervention, or at the very least, we need to have the conversation and and speak to the parents. Now, I know typically when I have kids and the parents are not totally on board, even with them just wearing glasses. Yeah. And if we're being honest, man, sometimes kids are in classrooms with other kids that's wearing glasses, and sometimes the kids just want to wear glasses like their friends or whatever else. But in my practice, I've gotten to the point to where if a kid's really struggling, after I refract them, when I'm doing my education with the kid and the parent, I say, you know what? I show the whatever letter that they can read uncorrected on the screen. I say, well, this is what your kid is seeing uncorrected.
Yeah.
So imagine walking around in the world like this, and this is what he can see, he or she can see, only the big E on the chart. And this is how, so there's no wonder why they're struggling in school or whatever else, right? And then I show what we can correct them to. We get them down, hopefully we can get them down to the 20/20 line. I say, so you can see that this is a huge difference. And a lot of times I get audible gasp from the parents.
Yeah.
And, because you almost have to show them, because I don't want to, because it's an expense, man. Glasses, it's expensive to have a family and raise a family. And if you got to buy glasses, that's an additional expense on whatever else. Hey, I get it. But
there's also a lot of misinformation about glasses harming eyes, right? Too.
Correct. Correct. And I'm not sure who started that.
I don't know.
But that's terrible.
Yeah. What? Shame on them. I don't know where that came from.
A lot of things will harm your eyes, man. It won't be glasses. Not a prescription for you. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Hey, man, but before we go, I can't remember what I gave Superman.
I think we both gave it a 9. I think we both gave Superman a 9.
Okay, because I'm pretty good. I'll say I'm gonna give Fantastic Four right up under that. I give it around a 7.5, 8.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I really enjoyed it.
Despite how it might have sounded during this episode, I'm going to give it a 7. So I think that's pretty. It just wasn't my cup of tea, but I do think it was very well made, and it seems to be resonating with Fantastic Four, like longtime Fantastic Four fans. Mm-hmm. So it looks like they did a really good job in that. I'm thinking of movies or like franchises that I care deeply about. Like we're going to talk about the Alien franchise or Star Wars or whatever it is.
Yep.
If they pay justice to something I saw or felt as a kid when I first saw those movies, it immediately goes up for me. And it sounds like this movie accomplished that for the fan base. Mm. And it was a beautiful movie, to be honest. The special effects, everything, the acting, it was good. So I'll give it a 7. And that's pretty opinion based. If someone told me it was a 9, I'd agree with them. So that's fine.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll take it. Well, we're gonna wrap it up with that, folks. Please join us with the next episode. You have any recommendations of movies you want us to watch, topics you want us to discuss? We're just having a lot of fun with it. Please let us know. At some point, Dr. Wilson and I discussed bringing on some of our colleagues and discussing. It doesn't have to be a current movie. Maybe one of their favorite movies or something, but they'll be tasked with watching the movie, taking notes, and they have to contribute to the conversation constructively, man. And then hopefully we can find an eye-related element to discuss as well. So, if we slide into your DMs and ask you if you want to be on one of our shows, man, accept the challenge. We're not that intimidating. What do you think, Dr. Jacob?
I don't think I'm intimidating at all. Maybe, but I would, if you suggest a movie, I'm going to watch it and I'm going to make points about it. So I hope you have to watch it too. You got to come and we'll talk about it. But
yeah, and just the funny thing, and I hadn't seen it yet because I have to mention it to the audience because I told my brother about it. You text me what was that Sunday night, and you told me you and Jenny had watched the new Naked Gun. Yeah, the new Naked Gun, and you said, man, it was just dumb. Like you got to go back and watch the original ones.
I guess so. You know what? It was mine and Jenny's anniversary this weekend, so that was kind of like our middle of the day date. We went and watched a movie, and we were sitting there, and we looked at each other, and we were like, "What? What is this about? What's going on?" Like, I didn't really know what it was going to be, and like, it was so silly. He's like, there's a part where he's like eating a pistol and stuff, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it's just slapstick comedy. It's just supposed to poke fun at everything. The guy's supposed to be like a clamoring nitwit buffoon, but he always gets a job done. So the original movies with Leslie Nielsen are really fun, man, and really funny. You got to go back and watch those. You got to watch them.
I'm gonna. And Liam Neeson's good in this one. So we just didn't know what we were watching. We walked out of there just like, what?
Perfect.
It was like 55 minutes long or something. It was really short. We were like,
oh, really? And it wasn't that long at all?
Maybe like 75. I feel like we got it. It was really short. We were like, okay, I guess we'll go on with our day now. Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out. I don't think Ash is interested in watching it, but I'm gonna go watch it maybe this weekend or maybe sometime this week, hopefully.
Okay.
But for sure. But you folks, that will do us for this evening. Join us for the next one. We have another movie, another eye topic to break down, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right, see you guys. Have a good one.
Right. Peace.
Hey, family, if you enjoyed this full podcast, don't miss out on more engaging content. Check out the next episode right here. And for the latest updates, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support means the world to us. Catch us in the next episode. Peace.